Hello, 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 and welcome. I'm SHEILA BALGOBIN, known as the Dream Decipherer, and this is Dream Your Life, Live Your Dream Live, where we talk about all things dreams. Today we're going to take a more scientific look, if you will, at dreaming and what's actually going on in our brains during our dreaming states. Now, our brains are actually a veritable hotbed of activity while we're sleeping. I mean, it does what I call the garbage detail, like removing dementia-causing plaque from our brains. But it's also consolidating memory and processing, helping us to process emotions. So there's a lot going on in our brains during a sleep, and it seems, and research is bearing this out, that dreaming is part of the memory consolidation process that goes on while we're asleep. Dreaming helps us to sort out facts and to consolidate memories, and some of these things that are being consolidated or stored, if you will, are presented to us in the form of a dream. So we're going to take a little closer look at REM sleep and what is actually going on in the brain during the dream state. Now, it's believed that we spend approximately 2 hours in REM sleep every night, which is, you're not doing it continuously, but it periodically during the night as the sleep cycle has its kind of highs and lows, and the dream state is usually at the bottom of that cycle, but we come up out of it and we go back down into it and up and down throughout the night until the dreams start to get lighter and lighter as we move towards waking. But it's a myth, actually, that REM sleep is the only time that we dream. The only difference between dreams that happen during the REM sleep and non-REM sleep dreams is that the REM sleep dreams are usually maybe more fantastical, they're more vivid, and therefore more memorable than the non-REM sleep dreams. Non-REM sleep dreams have a tendency to be closer to our waking state, more logical in their presentation. So our brains basically process our emotions during sleep, and it's possible that the more vivid dreams that we have during REM sleep may somehow be connected to this processing of emotions that goes on in the brain during sleep. The amygdala, which is deep inside the brain, which is linked to the processing of emotions, is highly active my neighbor is highly active during REM sleep. So the brain is firing, the amygdala is processing emotions, and what gets processed, again, will occasionally come up as a dream. So I'm going to look at briefly the 8 different cycles of sleep. When, like I said, there's several times during the night we go into REM sleep, and it's usually the cycle that lasts, the first REM sleep lasts about 60 to 90 minutes. But you'll go through that phase maybe about 4 times during the night, with 3 stages of non-REM sleep followed by 1 stage approximately of REM sleep. So, but each stage of sleep is quite distinct in what is happening in the brain during that time. For example, stage 1, which is when we're just falling asleep, is light sleep. Our brain is slowing down, and the alpha brain waves that start to take over, which makes us, as we're becoming drowsy. So your breathing is regular, but you're losing muscle tone. You're starting to get floppy, if you will. Stage 2, you're still in the light sleep, but your heart rate and your body temperature start to go down. There's specific brainwave patterns called K complexes that start to fire at this point. And these occur as we're transitioning into deeper sleep. Now, by stage 3, you're in a deep sleep. You've already fallen asleep. And this is the stage where babies are most of the time. Delta waves, brain waves are occurring in sleep. Babies stay in that state most of the time. We only get there during deep sleep as adults. They're the slowest and deepest waves during the night, and trying to wake somebody up from when they're in this state is quite difficult because they're really just disconnected from everything and everyone. So, if you try to get them to answer a question in this state, you're lucky if you get anything sensible out of the person at that point. So during this stage of sleep, the body's starting to repair itself. For example, boosting our immune system, restoring bones, muscles, and tissue. So a healing work is at the physical level is going on at this point. In stage 4, which is when we reach REM sleep, this is when we start to dream, your brain actually starts to look like, in terms of its wave patterns, like when we're awake. Because of all of the activity that's going on. There's different parts of our memories that are being put together, if you will, into a story as a dream. You lose muscle tone. And that's physically, physically we're designed so that we have to have sleep paralysis so that we don't act out our dreams. But except for our eyes, everything else is kind of temporarily paralyzed. The eyes are moving rapidly beneath the eyelids. Breathing becomes irregular at this point, and the heart rate goes up. And if you've ever woken up after a particularly frightening or sexy dream, your heart's actually it's pounding. So there's a lot of activity that's going on during this point, and the brain again is as active in this state as it is when we're actually fully awake. So superficially, if an EEG is done to measure the brain activity, it looks remarkably similar between the waking state and REM sleep state. The dreamer is highly conscious but disconnected from the outer environment. They're in their internal world. But the brain is creating a story, filling it with all kinds of actors and all kinds of scenarios, and generating basically illusionary images, but putting together a story. So how is the brain doing all of this? There's some theories around this, and some theories suggest that the hippocampus, again, deep within the brain, which contributes to dreaming, is closely related to memory. And according to one estimate, about half of all dreams contain at least one element originating from a specific waking experience of the dreamer. So fragments of various recent experiences intermingle with things that the brain kind of catches from perceiving what's going on around the dreamer during the day, combine to create a dream. So our brains are almost as active as when we're fully awake during REM sleep, because our prefrontal cortex, or left brain, or the front of the brain, is less active. That's the part of us that counts things, evaluates things, that makes judgments, and is logical. And since we know that dreams can be quite crazy, that part of us is generally shut off during the night, so that when the right brain floats up these images, the left brain doesn't go, "What the hell?" and dismiss it out of hand. So our critical thinking is temporarily suspended and put on ice while we're asleep. And this is why we have these fantastical images, because the brain is allowed to generate whatever it's generating without being censored by our logical thinking brain. So, which is why, we can fly in our sleep, monsters can appear, all kinds we can ride magic carpets, whatever the case may be, because our critical thinking has been temporarily disabled. Now, there's a more recent theory that's come about that says that nighttime dreams actually protect visual areas of the brain from being co-opted during sleep by using other sensory functions such as hearing or touch. According to the neuroscience David Engelman at Stanford University, dreaming is actually necessary to preserve the visual cortex, the part of the brain that processes our vision. Now, his researcher's theory is that the brain is highly adaptive, and certain areas will be able to take on new tasks, which is what is called neuroplasticity. That you can't teach old dogs new tricks, basically. That our brains aren't rigid and fixed and can never develop new neural pathways. It's just not true, and neuroscience is more and more and more is showing that. So the brain, as Engelman puts this, it distributes its resources by this kind of do or die competition for brain territory in the sensory areas. So, one area gains, another area loses. So there's, or the inputs slow down or stop, temporarily or even permanently in some cases. So that each sense is basically battling for space to do its functions. So that dreaming, which is usually accompanied by rapid eye movement, the eyes are flickering, is due to increased activity in the brainstem at the base of the brain. So, and near the neurons that actually control our eye muscles. So this movement actually doesn't have anything to do with the content of our dreams. It's just a physiological reaction because of electrical activity. And this electrical activity stimulates the amygdala and other areas of the limbic system, which is also known as our reptilian brain, the first part of the brain that actually developed. It's a part of the brain that is directly linked to physical survival. Like I use the example of somebody throws a ball in your face, and before your brain even registers it, you put your hand up to either to protect yourself or to catch the ball without even thinking about it. Your brain takes a couple of milliseconds to register, but your body's already reacted. That's the reptilian brain, the limbic system. So this part of our brain is, as I said, directly connected to our sense of survival, but it also controls emotional expression and fear responses. You're afraid you're going to get hit in the face with a ball. You grab it. And that could be what is causing all of this activity in the brain. So this neural activity that's originating at the base of the neck in the brain stem is actually being fed into the higher brain systems, and it's very random the way it gets there. So with this random stimulation coming in to the brain from other parts of the body, and from other parts of certain parts of the brain, the brain tries to make sense of it all by trying to put it together as a story. So you have all memories being consolidated, emotions being processed, and the brain to kind of keep from losing its mind. If you want to think of it that way, tries to put it all together into a story, which becomes a dream. So there's also been another explanation put forward about dream generation, and that is that dreaming and REM sleep are actually dissociated mental states that actually occur independently of each other, so that REM sleep and dreams are not necessarily working in tandem, but are two separate processes that are going on. REM sleep is controlled by the brainstem, which is those nerves being stimulated because linked to the amygdala, which is processing of emotions, while dreaming is controlled by the release of dopamine, of feel-good hormones inside the frontal lobe of our brains. So this theory actually does have some support and some evidence to bear this up by the fact that dreaming can be initiated by drugs that mimic dopamine. And I mean, the tribes around the world for time out of mind have been using all kinds of plants and things to be able to, to contact the spirit world, but will put people into a trance state or a dream state where they have dreams and visions. So that's nothing new. We've been trying to reach the spirit world as long as people have been around, and using all kinds of things to get that dopamine rush to be able to do that. So this dreaming can be initiated by some substances in the body that mimic dopamine, and then stopped again by taking medication or drugs that actually block the dopamine production. But it doesn't actually affect changes in the frequency or duration of REM sleep, but it will stop the dreams. So there's still a lot of research to be done around this, but just think, your brain is not as quiet as you may think it is. It's on duty 24/7. And dreaming is part of the healthy discharge of emotions and feelings that come along with doing memory consolidation. So it's a very important process that's actually going on. So I thank you so much for listening. I hope it gives you some thought about just how busy you are when you're sleeping and dreaming. And if you have any questions about how you can improve your sleep, or you have a dream you'd like to look at, get in touch. I offer a free initial consultation, and I would love to hear what you've got going on and see what the messages are for you. Thanks so much again. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.